Even Tony Khan's sickos are getting sick of AEW as they set a brand new record for the lowest ever Dynamite in the history of the company. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. It is not good. What an understatement that is, but oh my god, Tony Khan, close your eyes, close your ears, don't listen, don't look, because this is not good for you. The numbers are in for AEW Dynamite, October 8th. They went head to head with the Hour 2 of NXT. Yes, it was Title Tuesday. They were not in their usual time slot on their usual night. However, there is no excuse for this rating as AEW Dynamite delivered 329,000 viewers. That is Rampage level. That is Collision level. This is an absolute disaster for AEW, for Tony Khan, for everybody involved. It is down 52% on last week's show. More than half the people that watched last week did not watch this week. That is embarrassing, man. Tony Khan, what are you going to do? Jericho just came out and called everybody idiots a few hours ago. I think he's the idiot. He's the guy that said Dynamite would be beating Monday Night Raw. Well, how did that prediction go, Chris Jericho, eh? How'd that prediction go? Not very good. You're looking like the biggest idiot right here, right now. But, I mean, let's get into this Dynamite rating a little bit more. So, it was on Tuesday, October the 8th, 2024. It went from 9 o'clock to 11:10 p.m. I believe it went head-to-head with 1 hour of NXT, but it might be the full 2 hours. Actually, I think it was the full 2 hours because, yeah, NXT was a 2 hour show and they both started at 9. Or sometimes NXT starts at 8, I believe. I'm not too sure with the new NXT time slot, but Dynamite was on from 9 to 11. There was a 10-minute overrun and it did 329,000 in viewership and it did a 0.10 in the demographic. Now, obviously, this is a preempted airing, so it's not in its usual time slot. However, it is still the record low for viewership and key demo for any Dynamite episode ever, preempted or not. And if you want to compare this to the last time Dynamite was preempted, October 2023, a year ago, AEW went head-to-head with NXT, which was on the USA Network on a Tuesday night. And back then, Dynamite delivered 609,000 viewers with a 0.26 in the demographic. Now, it's interesting to note that Dynamite went up against an NXT that had John Cena advertised and had The Undertaker on the show. If you cannot remember, NXT promoted that show heavily, and they had John Cena and Taker on that show. And I remember Tony Khan was crying. He was annoyed. He was trying to throw insults at Cena, saying it was the first time Cena had ever been on a show under 1 million. I don't see how he can say that. And then at the same time, it was the first time Adam Copeland had ever been on a show with under 1 million. But whatever, Tony Khan, the logic isn't there. But when you compare it to a year ago, that's almost half. That's almost half the viewers. And that was on a Tuesday. So you can talk about the excuses, but it didn't really affect them that badly a year ago, and now look at the number. The number's shocking. 2 years ago, October 2022, they went on head-to-head with NXT on a Tuesday, and they did 752,000. So this just goes to show you the decline of AEW, and it is a massive decline. So like I said, last week, they did 680, 52% down on that. Last week, the key demo did 0.20. This week it did 0.10. So down 50% in the key demo. These numbers are shocking. Absolutely shocking. But yeah, I just keep going back to the number that Dynamite got over a year ago when they went head to head. 609,000. And that was against John Cena. That was against The Undertaker. Yeah, I get it. NXT's on the CW network and they had Randy Orton on the show. But let's not pretend that Randy Orton's John Cena. Let's not pretend that Randy Orton's The Undertaker. This number is horrendous for AEW. Horrendous for Tony Khan. And I don't know where they go from here. Well, apart from down. How low can it go? That's the big question. How low can it go? We're hearing about this brand new AEW TV deal. How can Warner Bros. Be happy? They can't. If the money that they're paying is legit, if those figures are real, and they're paying £170 million or dollars even for this show, then I just do not understand it. That would make it so much more expensive than NXT's deal with CW, yet NXT's wiping the floor with AEW. I don't know if those numbers are legit. I don't know if we'll ever have proof. Tony Khan could have just made them up for all we know. But yeah, I mean, let's look at the YouTube clips here. Let's see who drew in the numbers. I had a few people saying that they didn't know Dynamite was on last night, and the first time they knew about it was when I uploaded the review. And I get that, and a lot of people might use that as an excuse, but here's how I look at it. If that's the case, if people didn't know Dynamite was on last night, then wouldn't the clips do better? Shouldn't the YouTube videos be doing impressive because people didn't get to see it? So they're all going on YouTube to check out the action, to check out what happened, to check out what they missed. And let's get into the YouTube clips. They're not impressive. They're not big. They're not nothing. First place, we have Will Ospreay. AEW International Champ demands answers from Don Callis. This got 166,000 views. And that's after 18 hours. Not great. Poor numbers. Second place, we get Match of Champions. Danielson and Utah versus Cascanoli and Pac. This got 159k views. This is your AEW World Champ. This was your main event. And what did it do? I tell you, it didn't do much. It didn't deliver. That is for sure. 159k. In third place, we had Darby Allin calls out long-time nemesis Brody King before AEW Wrestle Dream. People were saying this was great, and trust me, it wasn't. This promo sucked. But it only got 96k, under 100k. So only 2 videos so far for Dynamite getting over 100k. Everything else under 100. Darby Allin and Brody King getting 96,000. Then move into fourth place. You've got a 4-way eliminator who will face the AEW Women's World Champ at Wrestle Dream. 75k. 75k this got. Not great in fourth place. We then move into fifth place. 55k. Bang Bang Gang, Jay White is back, and he's taking aim at Hangman Page. So Jay White returns, 55,000 views. We then go into sixth place. We've got a Bryan Danielson, yes, Bryan Danielson, off the air exclusive where he cuts a promo. Good for him. In seventh place, we have Daniel Garcia addresses his future on AEW, 39k. Then in 8th place, we have Commander versus Hologram. 2 high-flying luchadors in an incredible match. 38k. Really, really low numbers. And then, up next, this is crazy that this is actually up next, but we have, in 9th place, the $5 million woman, Mercedes Moné, defending both her belts, both the TBS and the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's Championship on the line. Mercedes Moné defending them both. She only got 33,000 views. Abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Shocking numbers. And then last, and certainly in this case least, in 10th place, we have the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho and crew teaches Rocky Romero a lesson. Literally. 13,000 views. Unlucky for Chris Jericho and unlucky for Rocky Romero because I have no idea who this guy is. So there you go, guys. There is your AEW numbers. Where does Tony Khan go for here? What excuses does Tony Khan use from here? What can Tony Khan do? What can the Khan man do? Well, I'll tell you what he can't do. He can't continue to keep making AEW this bad. AEW was shocking last night, and these numbers... This could be the new norm, honestly. In a year or two, AEW on a Wednesday might be getting 329k because we've already seen that they did 502,000, 503,000, and that was on a Wednesday night. So there's no reason why the numbers cannot get lower. This must be a wake-up call. Tony Khan has to change the game. He has to come out. He has to do something. But I wouldn't be surprised if he fixes it, or at least tries to fix it with money. He'll probably try and sign a couple of guys for Japan, give them $10 million every week, see if they can fix it, and they ain't going to fix nothing. They ain't going to fix nothing. When will this guy learn? When will this guy actually bring somebody in to book the company or run the company? Because he's had his shot. He's tried, and he's obviously failed. And it's sad because I don't think AEW will continue to be around at this rate if they continue like this. These numbers are terrible. Absolutely terrible, guys. Anyway, that's it. It was a really poor show. I was expecting a low number. I knew it was going to tank. Not quite sure if I expected it to be this low, though. Like I said, this is insane. I mean, you compare it to a year ago, they had 609,000, so they've lost almost half of their viewership in just 1 year on a Tuesday night. That is mental. And then you got to factor in that Dynamite a year ago went up against a much, heavier lineup when it comes to NXT. They had Cena and Taker, for God's sake. So, yeah, these numbers are not good for Tony Khan. Say some prayers for Tony Khan. I think he needs it. He's not going to be a good night for him. It's not me, it's Shane. It's not me, it's not Shane. It's not good numbers. That's what it's not, Tony Khan. The guy, I mean, he's... What did he say his favourite movie was? Time Cop? He needs to go back in time and call the cops, call the FBI, because there's been a murder here, and it's the ratings that have been absolutely murdered. They're shocking. Shocking, guys. Anyway, that's it. Feel bad for him. Rest in peace, Tony Khan. Rest in peace, AEW. We'll catch you in the next one, guys. Been Fog Wrestling. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.